One of the pivotal discussions at IBM's ThinkGov 2020 digital event experience recently revolved around how government agencies are modernizing their IT, not only for the sake of digital transformation, but also with an eye towards forging the future of government. Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and joining us to talk about that is Ray Spicer, Vice President for Defense and Intelligence at U.S. Federal Business for IBM. Ray, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, good to be with you, Wyatt. Thanks for having me.
So my first question is, how has a multi-cloud portfolio approach to IT helped accelerate digital transformation on the defense and intelligence side of the federal government from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question, Wyatt. Our customers understand and appreciate the value of a multi-cloud environment, but more importantly, a hybrid multi-cloud environment. So hybrid being the mix between private, on-prem, and public cloud, in addition to the multi-cloud environment, which essentially is multiple vendors. But the real question is, why do they appreciate that? And I think in one word, I would say it's flexibility. It's also things like portability of workloads. It's options to run workloads on clouds that are best suited for those workloads without needing to be locked into a single vendor. So having options obviously helps them run in an open cloud environment, also drives competition, which therefore reduces IT spend, enables access to all the great innovation that all the vendors have to offer, not limiting the customer to one single vendor. And for those who are concerned about the complexity involved with the hybrid multi-cloud environment, I would say that there are tools and capabilities out there today. IBM's got a multi-cloud management capability that's phenomenal. There's Kubernetes. For us, it's Red Hat OpenShift that allows customers to run their workloads seamlessly across their cloud ecosystem. So there are tons of capabilities out there to help manage a hybrid multi-cloud environment. And I think what it does is it gives our customers the flexibility to respond and gives them the agility to respond to events such as the pandemic that we're currently all undergoing.
Well, my next question is, how have automated workflow applications transformed the delivery of digital services, again, from your perspective on the defense and intelligence side of the federal government?
Yeah, another great question. And I would say, in simple terms, I would say automation is a game changer. If you just think of all the processes that are involved in running and operating a large, complex organization such as the DoD or the IC, and even at the component levels, the Navy, the Marine Corps, all the service levels, and the subcomponents of those organizations, they are just huge organizations with many processes. From the back end, running HR systems, financial management systems, supply chain management, all the way to the mission end of the business. There are just any number of processes that I think are ripe for automation. And as you know, automation allows you to take users or employees that are doing repetitive kind of work and take them off of those repetitive tasks to free them up to do the more meaningful, higher level work. A great example of that is something that we did with the Veterans Benefits Administration, where we took hundreds of their employees off of the mundane, routine tasks of opening and sorting veterans' claims for benefits and applying them to adjudicating those claims and actually getting that process and creating these intelligent workflows, reimagining the way that work gets done at the VBA, with the end result being an accelerated time to value to drive the business outcomes that they're expected to drive. And in the end, what that means is getting the answer to the veteran's claim back to the veteran, and the benefits that they've earned and are so desperately in need of back in the hands of the veteran. So there's a great example of that. And I would say my advice would be when you're looking at automation, to start small, pick a pain point, do some co-creation with a vendor, identify the processes that could use some automation, develop a solution, test it. It's never going to be perfect. Tweak what you need to tweak, run it, and then scale it, and then go pick the next pain point. So start small, but again, I see automation as a huge game changer in this industry, as well as several others.
Well, next, I'd like to touch on security just briefly. What would you say are the top 2 priorities, for example, for protecting government defense and intelligence data more securely across government?
Yeah, it's hard to pick a top 2, Wyatt. I would say, I'll give you 2 categories. First category would be technology. There's so much advanced technology that's out there today that's available to help with protecting data. Everything from robotic process automation to AI, machine learning, quantum safe encryption, blockchain for knowing who has accessed the data, when they accessed it, if they altered it, any number of tools, technology tools available to our customers today. And that's just tip of the iceberg. But I'd say also just as important as the technology are the procedures and principles that are applied and the methodologies that are used. We talk a lot about zero trust, and we talk about strong authentication. And to me, zero trust is about limiting access to only those who need it and only when they need it, and then proving that they deserve access to that data through strong authentication. So, just an example of the policies and procedures that I think are required to employ that technology. So there's my 2, my technology, policies, and procedures. I'll throw in a third, and it's always about training, right? It's about good IT hygiene, because as we know, breaches can sometimes be intentional, but they can also be unintentional through spear phishing and spam and malware and all the nefarious things that people get caught. So, and it's unintentional on behalf of the employees, but it does a lot of damage. So good training hygiene and IT hygiene, I think, is also important.
Well, lastly, what's one of the key IT lessons that we might take away from the pandemic as agencies continue to look towards the future of government service using technology?
Yeah, I would say those who have modernized IT environments or have either started on their digital transformation journey or were well on the way on this digital transformation journey, moving to the cloud, I think fared better during the pandemic, at least in the early days of the pandemic. They had the agility to handle the surge capacity, whereas others may have struggled a bit. Especially when we had everybody starting to work from home, and there was huge surge capacity associated with that. And those that had modernized or begun to modernize their IT environments were better able to handle that. Related to working from home, in my customer set in particular, I think it's almost a foreign concept. It was a foreign concept before March of 2020, and particularly if you wore the uniform. I grew up wearing the uniform, so I'm speaking from experience, that if I were ever to say to one of my peers, hey, I think we're going to work from home tomorrow, they would have looked at me like I had 3 heads, because it's just unheard of. It's not something you do. But I think what they found is that there was great advantage to working from home. People can actually do it and still be productive. So I think as you start to see my customer set start to return to work, you're going to see a blend of working from home and working from the office or on site. And the benefits are anything from reduced cost, less travel requirements. But another thing that I think they've learned is the fact that you no longer have to constrain yourself geographically when you're looking to hire the skill sets that you need to get the job done. I mean, if the person doesn't have to come into the office and they can work from home, then you can go across the nation, do a nationwide search or even beyond the country to look for the right skill sets to get, help you get the job done. So I think there are many benefits, and across the board, folks have learned that. So in summary, just those that had the modernization or had started that journey, I think, fared better than others.
Well, Ray Spicer, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some of your insights about the way IT modernization is helping agencies really forge their future for government service. So thank you for being with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'd just like to end by saying thanks to all our service members and government employees for all you continue to do for us and for our nation. It's really appreciated. Thanks.